You are risking $100 as your stop loss, and you're making a fucking $1,000. Oh, did I say fucking? Jeez. You're making a whooping sum of $1,000. Alright, so I'm going to be taking you through a quick review of our weekly report at BillionTribe Inner Circle. Our Inner Circle is like the private or the premium circle of BillionTribe. You know, we have the general group where I drop signals for free for people, and then we have the dedicated Inner Circle, like sort of a private group. That one is paid, right? So I'm going to be taking you through all the signals that I have sent in the Inner Circle, the win rate and the losses we've made. I'm going to be starting from July week 2. That's what I have on my board right here, July week 2. So I'm going to be taking you through a journey of how much we have made. So July week 2, that's the 2nd of July, we traded about 7 pairs, right? We traded about 7 pairs. We traded YFI, then we traded Tria, we traded AGI, Theta, Clanker, Blue AI, and Epic. You get, so these were all the pairs that we traded on July week 2. All right, in July week 2 rather. Yeah, so these were the pairs that we traded, and of course YFI actually hit SL, so we made about 2 losses. Out of these 7 pairs that we traded in July week 2, we had about 2 losses and 5 good lovely wins. Yeah, that's the beauty of RR. I know so many persons do not really tell you about what RR simply means, or why you should pay attention to your RR. RR simply means risk to reward ratio, and that's one thing that every trader or financial market analyst should always pay attention to before taking any trade. You can't be trading 1:1 RR. That means if you lose one trade, the next trade that you win, you simply balance your account, right? That's not a fair RR. I must be honest. So at BillionTribe Inner Circle, the minimum RR of trade that we take is 1:3, right? What does that simply imply? That simply implies that if you are risking $10 per trade, you're going to be making nothing less than $30. Yes, that's the kind of RR that we take. The minimum is 1:3, and if you're risking $10, like I said, you're going to be making about $30. What that also implies that if you make 3 losses, if you have 3 losses, let's assume that you took about 4 trades, am I right? And then out of the 4 trades that you took, you have 3 losses. The 4th one that will hit your TP will simply make up for all other 3 losses that you got. Does that make sense? That's the meaning of RR, risk to reward ratio. What are you risking? What's your reward? So if the RR is not good enough, you can secure 3 to 4 losses, and 1 will hit TP, and you've not still broken even. You understand? So, but right in here at BillionTribe Inner Circle, which is the private or the premium circle of BillionTribe, the minimum RR for trades that we take is 1:3. We normally have 1:3, 1:4, 1:5, 1:7, even up to 1:10. For 1:10, that simply means if you risk $10, you're looking at making about $100. Is that possible? Yes, we've done it before. I'm going to still be doing it again and again. You understand? So back to the review that I was talking about, July week 2. The report that we had on July week 2, which I'm going to be showing you on this screen, right, is we took SL, 2 SL on 2 trades, the first 2. Then AGI gave us about 48%. Please turn the camera this way. AGI gave us about 48%. If you are on a 25x leverage, right? Theta give us about 496%. Very awesome. It smashed TP and over. Clanker give us about 69%, and then Blue Eye give us about 57%. Epic made about 158%. We had a gross profit for July week 2 of over $628 on a risk of $100. What that simply means is that we got about gross RR of 1. We had a gross RR of 1:6. That's the meaning of that report. We had a gross RR of 1:6. And what that simply implies is that if you risk $100 for that week, you have made about $628 under the space of 1 week, risking how much? $100. You have made about 628%. So that was a very lovely week for July week 2. Very lovely and beautiful. And then for July week 3, I'm going to be sending you a report for July week 3. We had a very lovely win rate for July week 1. We did even more July week 2. July week 3 is quite brutal. This particular week is quite brutal, but then it is what it is. I'm going to be sending you reports on July week 3 on Sunday. That's tomorrow. I'm going to be sending you a report on Sunday, and then we'll have the final week in the month of July, and let's see how far we've gone. All right. Okay, so one more thing, I should be showing you from my PC. What all of this imply, how we got the RR, how the trades performed, how the analysis was done, and all of that. So let me just quickly open my laptop and show you how these things were done. Let me start from Theta. Let me zoom in my screen and then show you the analysis on Theta, right? So this is the analysis that we had on Theta, and Theta smashed TP and did even more. And what was the RR on Theta? RR on Theta was 3.25. You can see it displayed on the screen, 3.25. That was for Theta. And let me check for Epic. So what this simply means, this 3.25, what this simply means is that, let's assume that you're risking $10, right? Your stop loss is about $10. If the trade hits the stop loss, you are losing $10. If it smashes the TP, you are winning about $32. That's the meaning of this RR here on Theta. Am I right? Yeah, on Theta. That's the meaning of this RR. You are risking $10 if the trade hits your stop loss, but in this case, we smashed TP. That simply means you gained about $32, right? $32. So that's a very sweet RR. You remember the RR I was talking about? That's a very sweet RR. Let's check Epic. Let me see Epic. What we got. Epic USD.perpetual. Epic USD.perpetual. Let me see the RR for that particular trade. What we got there. If I still have the analysis on my PC. Can't find the okay, I found it. So this is for Epic, and Epic, the RR for Epic was 3.2 again. That's the trade. That's the analysis right there on the screen. The analysis for it was about 3. The RR was about 3.22. You can see it clearly and boldly written there, 3.22, right on the screen. That's for Epic. What again this simply implies that if you risk losing $10 on this trade, if the trade hits your stop loss, in this case, we actually had a win. Yeah, we had a win. So that's simply means you're making about $30. Again, doesn't make sense. Sounds beautiful and sweet. This is not like it's a makeup. You're seeing the analysis like on the chart. And then, of course, you saw that we traded it here. So let me check the next one, the next one was Blue AI perpetual. Blue AI perpetual contracts. This is quite lovely. We had a very lovely wins. The week 2. So this is Blue AI. All right, so Blue AI, this is Blue AI. You can see that Blue AI. And on Blue AI, we had a win. We had a risk to reward ratio of 3.3. Can you see how consistent we've been? I think that our risk to reward ratio is a minimum of 1:3 ratio. What that simply means, you risk $10, you're making $30. You lose 4 trades. The next win that you make, you cover for all the. Sorry, you lose 3 trades. The next win that you make that hits your TP, you're gonna make up the entire 3 rather that you've lost. That's what that simply means. So you risk $10. If you are taking 4 trades and 3 out of those 4 hit SL, the only one that will hit TP will cover for all the losses of the other 3. That's exactly what 1:3 ratio means, right? That's exactly what it means. So for this, again, we made over 3 point something RR, which simply means that everybody that in the group chat that risks about $10 must have made about $30. If you risk about $100, must have made about $300 just in a space of 1 week. Let's check the next pair that we traded. I have checked that. Let's check Clanker. I'm showing you all of this so that you know that we are not just doing guesswork, or what we publish is quite authentic and genuine. Of course, what we're trying to impress. What we're trying to impress exactly. So this is Clanker. This is Clanker again. No, not again. This is Clanker. And then I told you that Clanker we made about 69% win. So for Clanker gave us a risk to reward ratio of 4.4. That is there right on the screen. 4.4. Right? So again, of course, by now you understand what risk to reward ratio simply mean. That simply mean that if you risk losing $10 on that particular trade, if you risk losing $10 and then it hits TP, of course it did, you must have earned about $40. And if you risk your stop loss, maybe it's about $100, and in this case it did not hit stop loss, it went straight to our TP, you must have made over $400. This is one of the critical things that financial market analysts and traders should pay attention to, the risk to reward ratio on the trades that they take. And at BillionTribe Inner Circle, we do not take anything less than 1:3 risk to reward ratio. That's why no matter the losses that we have, we are always on the winning side. Why? Because our risk to reward ratio are always very, very lovely and juicy. Minimum of 1:3, and like sometimes you normally have 1:5, 1:6, 1:7, even as high as 1:10. 1:10, you are risking $100 as your stop loss, and you're making a fucking $1,000. Oh, did I say fucking? Jeez. You're making a whooping sum of $1,000. Yeah, that's the minimum of 1:10 RR. And this week being week 3, let's say it has been brutal. By the way, this week has been amazing. Has been an amazing week for us, to be honest. But then let's see how it goes. Hopefully, we close this week again with some profits. For the week 2, the RR that we closed with was grossly 1:6, which simply means that for all the trades that you took, let's assume that you risk about $100 as your SL. What you're earning at the end of the week is $600. Does it make sense? Sounds sweet? Yeah, that's what we do at BillionTribe. So that was what we closed the trade of last week 2 with. I'll review week 1 because this is actually week 2. I'm going to review week 1. Week 1 also we closed week 1 at a good profit level, profit margin, right? We closed week 1 at a good profit margin, and then week 2 we did it again. We smashed TP again week 2. Week 3, let's see how it goes. The report is going to come on Sunday for week 3, and then we will take the final week of the month of July, and we will call it a nice month. Yeah, thank you very much.